Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome back to our channel once again. There is a promise which Rigathi Gachagua made to Kenyans that is going to do one job: to stop William Ruto from becoming the next president of the Republic of Kenya. And we all know that Rigathi Gachagua cannot vie for the presidency in 2027, which means Rigathi Gachagua can only support a winning formation. As we speak, we can't clearly tell the formation Rigathi Gachagua is likely to join. But there's something which Rigathi Gachagua said over the weekend that shocked me. That is going to embark on a 6-day tour of Mount Kenya East. That is Embu, Meru and Tharaka. And the reason he's going to do that, according to him, is because if William Ruto were to succeed in dividing Mount Kenya into East and West, then William Ruto will be able to go back as the next president of the Republic of Kenya.
Na ndio unaona, the only way William Ruto can come back to power is if he succeeds to divide the mountain and the mountain vote. Once we are united as a community, as a people, as a region, our votes added to the rest of Kenyans ataenda nyumbani asubuhi. Na ndio unaona halali ametafuta mtu naitwa Roko na ile mtu naitwa Soprano. Sio, unajua Soprano? Anasema atigawa Mount Kenya East and West. Na haiwezekani. Mimi nikimaliza kazi niko nayo wa Munyoro, nitaenda Embu na Meru siku 6. Huko niende niongee na watu wetu tuelewane. Wameniambia niende. Ametafuta Kimani Ichung'wa, anamwambia toa Kiambu kwa mlima. We cannot divide this mountain. It must stay as one. And once the mountain vote is one, tutasaidiana na Wakenya wengine kumpeleka nyumbani. But if we are divided, huyu mtu anaweza rudi.
So in this video, I want us to look at Mount Kenya and whether Rigathi can actually manage to wrestle the control from Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki. Because there's something which William Ruto did before he impeached Rigathi Gachagua. He met with the leadership from Mount Kenya and they reached a decision that his deputy was going to come from Mount Kenya East. And William Ruto easily settled on the man who originally was supposed to be his deputy, Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki. And the reason William Ruto did that was very simple. During the time Rigathi Gachagua was being impeached, William Ruto believed that, okay, we are going to impeach this guy. He has support, people are emotional. Then after 3-4 months, people are going to forget about it. So he knew that the people of the mountain were going to go back to UDA. But in the worst case scenario, William Ruto knew that Mount Kenya West might go. And therefore he needed Mount Kenya East. So recently we had a by-election in Ol Kalou. Rigathi Gachagua humiliated William Ruto and his allies. And that was a wake-up call to the president. Because even Oscar Sudi alluded to it yesterday. So Rigathi is telling us now that Mount Kenya West is now sorted. The only remaining part which can enable Ruto to become the president again is Mount Kenya East. So he's going to embark on those 6-day tour. So the question is, what are some of the factors which will determine whether Rigathi will succeed in that mission? That's exactly what I want to reveal to you guys here. Because remember, Meru has a total of 772,000 registered voters. Embu alone has 334,000 registered voters. Then if you go to Tharaka, 231. If you total those, already we are at 1.3 million registered votes. Those are the votes Rigathi Gachagua fears that if William Ruto were to get, they are going to make him the president again. But can the people of Mount Kenya East listen to what Rigathi is going to tell them, or can they stick with their son? So it means, number one, as he embark on that journey, the people of Meru, Embu, and Tharaka are going to make a choice between Kindiki and the unknown. I'm talking of the unknown because Kindiki is already a deputy president, so it's a known factor. The unknown is who is going to be appointed in his place, because Rigathi is not going to run for the president. So who is going to become the next president? So the people of Mount Kenya East, for example, Tharaka, their disadvantage, their number is only 231. They can't produce a president. They can only produce a deputy under the banner of Mount Kenya East or Mount Kenya. So the people down there will have to make that choice. And for me, if you're to ask me, I think that choice is not very difficult for them to make. Our politics are a bit treble. So Mount Kenya East might decide, okay, we have Kindiki. Are we going to throw him out? Or do we support our son? Number two, Rigathi's mission is also going to depend, not now, but maybe in future, on who William Ruto is going to pick as his running mate. Because the president is also under a lot of pressure from several quarters to replace Kindiki. Because there's the fear that Mount Kenya will eventually dump him. ODM party are now telling the president that come for us. We can give you a running mate. Or Paranya, we can give you a running mate. Gladys, even Buddy, the man you keep on pressing, can be your running mate. On the other side, the Luhya nation are also piling pressure on the president that for us to tame Sifuna, what do? Please give us the running mate. So will William Ruto heed to those demands? Because if William Ruto were to heed to those demands, then there's no way he's going to come back with Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki as his deputy. He will have to be forced to look elsewhere. And just like I was explaining in my previous video, where I indicated that William Ruto will have to retain Kindiki because, for example, ODM supporters have decided. There are those who have gone with one term. And then there are those who have gone with 2 term. Those who have gone with the 2 term, they are decided. I think they don't even care on who is going to become what. For them, William Ruto. So the person Ruto will pick. If Ruto will not pick Kindiki, Rigathi will have a field day. But if Kindiki will be reappointed as the running mate, that's where now the problem is going to arise. Number 3 is the political interest of Mount Kenya East. What is their political interest? Are they willing to continue being part of the larger mountain, or are they trying to create their own identity? Because someone like the Cabinet Secretary, Godfrey Ruko, has been consistent and vocal about Mount Kenya East. So if retaining Kindiki as a deputy is going to serve the interest of Mount Kenya East, then I can assure you they will remain there. But if not, Rigathi will have his way. And importantly, whether the anti-William Ruto's narrative will be sustained in Mount Kenya East. Remember, Mount Kenya East are saying that they cannot be isolated from their brothers. But they're also asking themselves the question is, why is it that our brothers, they hardly support us? Because for them, this is the moment for them to get that support from Mount Kenya West. But what sells in the mountain is anti-William Ruto campaign. You take that to Mount Kenya East, it means you are fighting one of their own. In fact, if you were to look at the results from Ol Kalou and the results from Meru North, I mean, people say that Meru North was rigged, but even if it was not rigged, the margin would not have been that huge. So which means there's a way Kindiki is already appealing to some people there. And lastly, and this is something which is really hurting the government, the perceived development. So far, William Ruto's government has not delivered to the expectations of most of the people who voted for it. And I'm 100% sure that William Ruto made a lot of promises to Mount Kenya East. But remember, Mbeere North taught some lessons that you can actually eat money and don't vote. So will these guys wait for the development to vote for Ruto, or what are they going to do? So for me, the most important thing is that William Ruto has the difficult task of completing the development projects, particularly in Mount Kenya East, to persuade them to vote for him. Without doing that, I can assure you, based on what we saw in Ol Kalou, Mount Kenya East will definitely take William Ruto home in 2027. I don't know what to think. That's my take. Until next time, Makwiny.